Masks, social distancing, and a scattering of reopened businesses. This is your life as the coronavirus pandemic drags on. But is it also fated to be your future? Our cover story is reported by Mo Rocca.
If you're looking for a window on the new normal, it may very well be made of plexiglass. How's business?
Business is booming. It's absolutely insanely busy.
Russ Miller manages Tap Plastics in San Leandro, California.
I've never, in 40 years of doing this, I've never seen anything like this.
Miller says as soon as the number of COVID-19 cases exploded, so did sales of the transparent acrylic barriers.
First customers were the large grocery stores, plastic sheets between the customer and the cashier.
Already, plexiglass barriers are popping up in reception areas, office cafeterias, hair and nail salons.
That's $14.53.
Which raises the question, as we all begin to emerge from our pandemic isolation, will we find ourselves still separated from each other?
I got contacted by a nursery school, and they wanted ones to put between the kids who are sleeping on the floor during nap time.
Does that make you kind of sad?
I have 4 kids. This is just one more problem that the kids have to deal with at school that is just sad. It's just not good.
One of the first times the phrase "the new normal" appeared in print was in 1918, just after the end of World War I. And with every cataclysmic event since, there have been predictions about how life will change. And this one's no exception.
Every cashier is going to want protection.
Becoming part of the new normal.
Yes, part of the new normal, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm an optimist. I want it to be like it was.
Behaviors change, but they always change for shorter periods than we anticipate or than a lot of people expect.
Adam Alter is a psychology professor at New York University's Stern School of Business. He points out that the phrase has been much used during the last 2 decades.
But here is the question that must be asked. Is what happened Friday the new normal?
We just aren't quite sure yet what the new normal is.
This may very well be the new normal.
Notably, the 2008 financial crisis.
People said, this is the new normal. You're going to have to be much more careful about your spending. It was also about saying to consumers, banks and other institutions will be forced to behave better in future. And so with luck, we'll avert future crises like this one.
But less than 10 years later, the government loosened the major financial protections. Change didn't last.
And I think we'll see the same thing after the pandemic as well. I think when you're in the midst of an event, it's concrete, it's very present, it's all that surrounds you, it takes up your whole attentional field. But I think as it passes, the vast majority of our behaviors will return to the way they were.
But some changes will stick. Can we even remember what it was like to fly before 9/11?
We instituted a whole lot of different policies. The way we travel changed, the way we entered buildings changed. Security in general was much tighter in every respect.
Not that there hasn't been a lot of grumbling about the long lines and privacy intrusions. Adam Alter says many Americans are less welcoming of new norms that feel imposed.
A lot of people just say, you know what, I've got plenty of freedom, I'm good. There are other people in the population who I think are more naturally resistant to being told pretty much anything. You could say, don't do this thing that will protect thousands of people, or don't do this thing that will keep you safe. And they say, don't tell me what to do. That's not something that I'm willing to accept.
Now, it's not that humans aren't capable of change over relatively short periods of time. Think about this. 20 years ago, almost no one had a smartphone. And now
75% of American adults say they can reach their phones without moving their feet 24 hours a day, which means their phones are either under their pillows or on their nightstand table. They're in their pockets.
On average, he says, Americans will spend 15 years of their lives looking at their smartphones. Yeesh. Had Steve Jobs strode out onto the stage with the first iPhone and said, all of you will buy this device and start using it now, it probably would not have worked out so well.
It would not. If the government had said, for example, everyone is mandated to buy a device, the attitudes would have been very, very, very different.
Whatever the new normal ends up looking like, Alter says some people may actually begin pining for lockdown life.
As soon as you're being forced to move around again, I think we'll start to say, well, remember when we could just sit on the couch.
Now, Lidia, I'm hearing birds chirping. Is that a sound effect that you added?
No, for you. No, isn't this beautiful?
Restaurateur and cookbook author Lidia Bastianich says she hopes there are elements of our life in isolation that will be part of our new normal.
You know, the planes are not flying overhead as much. The birds are singing. Maybe I'm overly sensitive, but I kind of like it.
She says this period reminds her of her childhood in Istria, once a part of Italy.
This is how I grew up, you know, and the seasons what we ate. And, you know, I did help Grandma in the gardens, harvest the potatoes, the beans, the peas, whatever, the flowers, whatever was in season.
While Bastianich hopes that out of this people will continue to cook at home, she's also a businesswoman with restaurants in New York and beyond. She knows that eateries, bars, and stores can only reopen if social distancing becomes a norm, at least for the foreseeable future.
There are already apps out there where the client can log in to the restaurant's menu and order directly. The waiter doesn't have to take the order. The order goes in the kitchen. The waiter will just serve it with the mask, the gloves, change the gloves with each serving. It's just a precaution that needs to be taken.
First time you're really dealing with your server is when the food is delivered.
Exactly. And I think the communication will happen a lot on the computer.
Do people need restaurants?
Absolutely. Restaurants. The word restaurant is from the word restore, a refuge, if you will, of travelers, of people going, meeting new people. So restaurants, I think, will always be part of society.
So you heard it here, the new normal will include restaurants.
Yes, absolutely. I have no doubt.
But that new normal may include barriers between tables made of, yes, plexiglass. I love starting conversations with the next table.
I know. We are social creatures. I get it. But you're going to have to calm yourself down a little bit. You're going to have to sort of pull that in. So you have to follow the rules, Mo. You have to follow the rules. You hear me?